All right, let's talk about Spain, a beautiful country known for flamenco, tapas, and taking siestas so seriously it makes the rest of the world look pathologically overworked. But today we're not talking about delicious ham or afternoon naps. No, we're diving into something far more thrilling, far more scintillating. We're talking about a government regulatory report. I know, try to contain your excitement, but stick with me because this report from Spain's top market regulator, the CNMC, is about the very plumbing of the internet. And when the plumbing gets clogged, you don't just ignore it unless you want your digital living room flooded with the sewage of buffering videos and failed Zoom calls. This is a big deal. So who is the mysterious entity behind this potentially game-changing report? It's the CNMC, which stands for the Comisión Nacional de los Mercados y la Competencia. That's a mouthful, so let's just call them the National Commission on Markets and Competition. In simple terms, they are Spain's Uber regulator. Think of them as the referees for the entire Spanish economy. Their job is to make sure companies are playing fair, that no one is cheating, and that consumers aren't getting ripped off. They oversee everything from energy prices to television broadcasting and the wild, untamed frontier of the internet. The CNMC's role in the digital world is particularly crucial. The internet, for all its talk of freedom and openness, is built on physical cables, servers, and routers owned by massive corporations. Without a watchdog like the CNMC, a few powerful companies could easily rig the game. They could create slow lanes for their competitors' services, charge outrageous prices for access to their networks, and generally make life miserable for smaller businesses and startups. The CNMC is there to prevent that kind of digital dystopia. Okay, so let's tackle the beast itself, IP interconnection. I know, it sounds like something a robot would say right before it becomes self-aware and enslaves humanity. But the concept is actually pretty simple. It's all about how different internet networks connect to each other. Your home internet provider, let's call them SpeedyNet, doesn't own the entire internet. SpeedyNet owns a local network that connects you and your neighbors. But when you want to watch a show on Netflix, that data has to travel from Netflix's servers, which are on a completely different network, to your laptop, which is on SpeedyNet's network. IP interconnection is the bridge that lets that happen. There are basically two main ways these networks connect. It's a bit like how Friends handle a bar tab. The first way is called peering. This is when two networks of roughly the same size and traffic volume agree to connect directly and exchange data for free. It's like two friends who go out for drinks and take turns paying. Handshakes. You let my traffic cross yours, I let yours cross mine. The second way is called IP transit. This is when a smaller network needs to connect to a larger one. SpeedyNet can't just demand free peering with a global giant like Telefonica. Telefonica has access to the whole world. SpeedyNet has a few neighborhoods, so SpeedyNet has to pay Telefonica for access. It's the I'll buy this round and probably all of them scenario. Now here's where it gets tricky and why the CNMC is interested. What happens when one company controls most essential connections? It can charge exorbitant prices, holding customers' data hostage, or refuse to peer with a rival to stifle competition. These disputes happen all the time behind the scenes. IP interconnection is the hidden battlefield, and your connection quality is often the collateral damage. So, after all that investigating, what did the CNMC's big fancy report actually conclude? They looked at the map of Spain's internet highways and found a massive toll booth, controlled by one company, Telefonica. The report names Telefonica as having significant market power in high-quality IP transit. Congratulations, you've won the Monopoly Prize. Your prize is a bunch of new rules you're not going to like. CNMC found Telefonica's network so extensive and critical that other providers have no real choice but to pay whatever it asks to connect. The report lays out the evidence. Massive market share, submarine cables connecting Spain to the rest of the world, a vast domestic backbone network. Competing against that is like trying to start a new fast food chain on a planet where every town already has 3 McDonald's. CNMC says this lack of competition leads to higher prices for smaller ISPs. Smaller companies pay Telefonica's transit fees, and who ultimately foots the bill? You, the end user, via higher monthly internet prices. Small regional ISPs trying to bring fiber to rural towns are at a huge disadvantage. They must build local networks and also pay hefty fees just to connect customers to the wider internet. That dynamic can stifle innovation and block new competitors. The report declares the system tilted in favor of the incumbent. Bad for competition, bad for consumers. Having identified the problem, the CNMC didn't just write a report shrug and go out for tapas, they proposed remedies to pry open Telefónica's grip. The main proposal, regulate prices Telefónica can charge for IP transit. This is a huge deal. Telefónica couldn't set prices based on whatever it can get away with. CNMC would oversee pricing, likely based on actual cost of providing the service, plus a reasonable profit margin. This is called cost-oriented pricing, designed to stop price gouging. But CNMC didn't stop there. Rules to ensure fair and non-discriminatory access. Telefónica must offer the same terms, conditions, quality of service to all wholesale customers. Tiny startup ISP large competitor. No more special deals for friends, no slow-laning rivals. Everyone connecting to Telefónica's backbone must be treated equally. Net neutrality principle applied at wholesale level so the gatekeeper can't play favorites. Another key suggestion, transparency. CNMC wants Telefónica to publish a public reference offer, a detailed document with technical specifications, terms, and prices for interconnection services. Think of it as a public menu for internet access. This would stop secret backroom deals that hurt smaller players. It forces accountability and provides a clear industry benchmark. Finally, an oversight mechanism. CNMC is final arbiter in disputes. If a smaller ISP thinks prices are too high or quality is poor, they can appeal to CNMC. That gives smaller players a powerful ally and a formal conflict resolution process, inserting CNMC as a permanent referee in the IP interconnection market to ensure the game is played fairly. Okay, this all sounds very corporate and technical. So what does it actually mean for you, a normal person who just wants the internet to work? Let's use an example. Imagine you live in a town served by a small local fiber company called Fibrous Fantasticus. They offer amazing speeds, but they're a small operation. To connect you to a big streaming service, Fibrous Fantasticus has to pay a transit fee to a giant like Telefónica. If Telefónica charges them a very high price, Fibrous Fantasticus can absorb the cost and make less money or pass the cost on to you as a higher monthly bill. Now let's apply the CNMC's new rules. With regulated cost-based pricing, Telefónica can't charge an arm and a leg. The transit price Fibrous Fantasticus pays goes down. This is a game changer. Suddenly, Fibrous Fantasticus can lower its prices or reinvest the savings to expand into the next town, bringing more competition and better service. Lower wholesale costs for smaller players mean more competition, better prices, and more innovation for consumers. Consider a new streamer, Hispanoflix, launching to compete with the giants. To succeed, it needs reliable connections across Spain's providers. Under the old system, a dominant operator could slow or degrade Hispanoflix's streams, causing buffering and lag, maybe to favor a partner. With CNMC non-discrimination rules, that's not allowed. The gatekeeper must deliver the same quality to Hispanoflix as to others, giving the startup a fair shot. This affects businesses too. A small e-commerce company in Andalusia needs fast, reliable internet to serve customers across Spain and Europe. High-quality internet costs can be a major barrier. Lowering wholesale transit costs cuts operational expenses for thousands of SMEs. That makes them more competitive, helps them grow, and strengthens the whole digital economy. It's not just about watching videos. It's about a healthier, more dynamic online economy where businesses of all sizes can thrive. So, what's the bottom line here? Spain's CNMC has fired a major warning shot across the bow of the internet industry. They've looked at the hidden plumbing of the internet, the part we never see, and concluded that it's clogged by a lack of competition. They've identified a single dominant player and proposed a strong set of rules to level the playing field. This isn't a minor tweak. It's a major intervention to reshape Spain's digital foundation. It's an attempt to turn a private toll road into a regulated public highway. For internet users, the benefits are clear. Lower prices, more choice in providers, better quality of service. When smaller ISPs can compete fairly, they drive down prices and force innovation. This could mean faster downloads, smoother streaming, more reliable video calls. It's about making your internet quality come from competition, not backroom deals. A move designed to put the consumer first. For companies, especially smaller ISPs and new digital startups, this report could be a lifeline. A future where they're not at the mercy of a single gatekeeper. It offers lower costs, fairer access. Ultimately, the CNMC's report asks who should control critical internet infrastructure. It champions digital highways accessible to all on fair terms, not only to those who can pay the highest tolls. If implemented, This could make Spain's market more vibrant, competitive, and innovative. The goal is simple: a better, faster, fairer internet for everyone. In a world that runs on data, that's a very big deal.